Hello everyone and welcome. Today's video is going to be so much fun. I'm comparing all the different Greenstyle leggings patterns that I have made, and I have a lot of just makes to show you, to talk about all their different features because each one of them is unique in its own way. So I see the questions so much in the Greenstyle Facebook group where people say, I'm a runner, what leggings pattern do I need to sew? Or I do CrossFit, or I like to do yoga, or I just want to lay around on the couch in my leggings. And those are all great activities. But you want to know what leggings pattern works for you. And in this video, I'm going to try and answer that question. I'm going to try and just show you the different leggings I've made, the different patterns and what I like them for and what I use them for. I would love to hear your feedback. If you've tried a leggings pattern from Greenstyle and you have a certain thing that you love or didn't love about it, I'd love to hear it in the comments, and maybe it'll add to this video. So let's start off with talking about the stride tights, the tempo tights, and the super G tights. Those three leggings patterns are based off of the same block. So what I mean by that is the pattern designer, when she created that pattern, she used the initial exact same design, or I should say fit, ease in the pattern. And the only thing that's different are the options. So for example, on the tempo tights, she went and drew the color blocking line. On the strides tights, she gave it the swipe over the booty. On the super Gs, it had a different gusset and a different pocket style, but the base is the same. So I just want to bust that myth. And I think I've even said it. I've been guilty of saying that before, like, oh, this one is more compressive. Well, it's really the fabric that's more compressive. It's the fabric that's making the biggest difference out of those patterns. And maybe as testing progressed, slight modifications happen, but for the most part, they're based on the same block. So let's start with the stride. And also, by I say they're based on the same block, they also have the same size chart. So they have the same coverage. Like if you are a size G in one, you're usually going to be a size G in the other because they're based off of the same design, just different options. So let's go over the options of the stride tights first. And then after we've talked about the strides, the super Gs, and the tempos, then I'll get into two that are a little bit different than these three. And that is the Inspire tights and the Cavallos. The Cavallos is the newest pattern on the block. And those are based off of a different block. The Cavallos are based off of a riding pants pattern. And the Inspire tights were one of the original patterns that has never been updated to her new block. Okay, the stride tights. The stride tights have 5 different length options. You can get shorts. There's a shorts cut line that gives you a 4-inch inseam. Capri, which will give you a 20-inch inseam. There's a cropped version that has a 24-inch inseam. Long, that's 29-inch, and an extra long that is 33-inch. They also come in girl sizes. The girl sizes range for a hip that is 21 to 32 inches, while the adults is 32 to 62 inches. The stride tights have an optional side pocket or a waistband pocket. I've never made the waistband pocket on any of the stride tights, but I have done the optional side pocket on all of the ones that I have made. The side pocket on the stride tights is designed like kind of like a patch pocket. It's just sewn directly onto the side panel and then just top stitched down to secure it into place. So like the top of the pocket is just folded over, top stitched down, and then the bottom is attached to the side panel, and then the side of it is. So that means whenever it's finished, it is just 2 layers of a pocket. So, and then it's optional. You don't even have to put that on there. You can have the side stripe. But the stride tights, they do not have the option for no side seam. So anytime you make the stride tights, you're always going to have a stripe down the side. You can use the same fabric so it doesn't stand out as much, but you're gonna have those seams there for that pocket. As well, it does have an inseam and it has an optional gusset. And the gusset design on this one is kind of like an oval diamond shape. So it is a different style gusset than any of the other leggings patterns. And as far as rise options go, it has a mid or a high rise on these. The ones that I've made, they're all a mid rise. The high rise on the strides hit me really, really high. It was like closer to my bra. So I have not used the high rise on those. The updated version of the pattern has an optional contoured waistband, and that one is awesome. I think from now on, that is the only waistband I will ever use on the strides because the way that it comes in near my waist, I don't have to use elastic on them, and they stay up really well. While when I made the mid-rise in the original waistband, it's the one that hits me right at my belly button, and it sometimes will slide down if I don't put elastic in my waistband. Another thing about option it has is it has a cross cuff option. On the cross cuff option, that is just going to give you some really pretty details on the capri version. And that's also on the kids version as well. So the fabric that is required is 75% stretch. For the adult pattern, for the girls pattern, your fabric needs to have at least 50% stretch. And that's in both directions. Whenever you're sewing leggings, you want to always make sure that not only does your fabric have really good horizontal stretch, but also vertical, because the vertical stretch is what helps it to go over your butt. So if you have a fabric and it has lower stretch vertically, I've seen people ask the question, I think I've even asked this question of, well, if I have fabric and it doesn't have very good vertical stretch, can I just use it anyways and size up? Well, yes, not really. If you size up, they're going to be a little bit baggier on you, and then they're still not going to go over your butt very well because whenever it doesn't have that stretch. So on the other end of the spectrum, if you find fabric and it has amazing vertical stretch, meaning you can really give it a good tug in the up and down direction, it's going to sit higher on you. So whenever you're looking at the tights that I'm showing in this video and you notice that, hey, that pair sits really high on her, or that pair sits really low, notice that has nothing to do really with the pattern. That has to do with the particular fabric I used and how much vertical stretch that it had. So that's another thing to think about whenever you're making yours, is to really look at that fabric and see how much stretch it is. So if it has just the minimum that the pattern requires, then it's going to hit you pretty much on average how it's hit everyone else, you know, where it lands on your body. While if it has like over 100% stretch, some of the fabrics I've used have had 125, 150% stretch. Oh man, those really give me some extra length to pull my pants up. I love to wear pants like that whenever I'm doing yoga or any kind of activity where I want to make sure that my stomach stays covered during it, because I don't really want, while I'm bending around, like the skin to be moving a lot. So anyways, that is my opinion on waistbands and vertical stretch. So another thing I think I'm going to tell you, I sew the strides because I think they look so good on everyone's butts. Like they just, especially if you have a smaller butt or a flat butt, they give you a curve up there that you don't normally have. And it kind of gives the illusion that you have a nice, firm, tight, high booty. So I say if you need some extra booty lifting properties, go for the strides. Okay, let's talk about the Super G Tights. The Super G Tights are the very first Greenstyle tights pattern that I ever made. They really sold me because I adored how they fit. I loved the pocket construction. I thought it was genius. And I really had never, up until that point, had the confidence that I can make leggings that fit me better than anything that I've ever bought. And I felt like it was just so empowering. So I'm excited to show you all the Super G's, and I have several more than these that I've made. They're one of the tights pattern I just made over and over again. They were like cookies. I just couldn't get enough of the Super G Tights. So more into the pattern. It has 4 length options. The Super G Tights have a 21 inch, 26 inch, 29 inch, and a 32 inch inseam. I also have a video on my channel where you can see how to make them into a shorts pattern. And I've made these into shorts several times. They are wonderful as shorts. They fit really great. So, and let's see, the pocket on the Super G is my favorite. So it's a 3-layer pocket. So unlike the stride tights where it's just patched on top of it, the Super G Tights, it is sewn, the pocket is actually sewn and then folded so that the seam is underneath, inside the pocket. The bottom of the pocket is the pocket seam. The top of the pocket is just a fold. So it's a really interesting construction, and it just, I don't know, I love to just stick my hands in the Super G pockets. They're big. You can fit your phone, you can fit so many things into them. So the second favorite thing about the Super G's that I have is the gusset. The gusset goes from calf to calf, and you can do any ninja move that you can think of. They are my favorite leggings if I'm going to be doing squats or if I'm going to be doing any workout that requires lots of legs apart type of movements, like a squat or a jump squat or kicking, any of those. I go to the Super G pattern for. So thinking about gussets, so I'm going to mention gussets in all of these videos, and all of the leggings have gussets except for the Cavallos. The Cavallos are not, they don't have a gusset, and I haven't really found that they're missing anything in life because they don't. But all the other leggings patterns do, and the Super G's is the biggest. And the gusset, think of gusset, think of movement. It's just giving you more range of motion, and it's changing where the seams are down there. So you're not going to have that seam going right across your crotch. Rather, you have extra seams going under your leg. Okay, so I really like the gusset. Let's see. It has, one of the hacks that I've done to the Super G's is I ruchette my side seams. And this is a really, really cool hack. And this is the only leggings pattern that made it really easy to do, because I feel like the side stripe on it is more of an even side stripe. Like the stripe on the strides goes bigger over my knees than it does on the Super G. So I'm able to get that perfect ruching down the side of my leg on the Super G's. So all I did was I basically increased the length of it ×2 and then ruchette it. But I have more clear instructions on a blog post. I'll link it in the blog post for this video. So if you want to make some, you can as well. Isn't it really fun? I'd love to just touch the side of these leggings when I wear them. The Super G tights, there is an option for no side seam, and this is the option that I pick if I have stripes, because it's kind of a way, to me, matching stripes on a side seam is time I could spend doing something else, and having no side seam just gives me less stripes that I have to match. So if I have a striped fabric, I grab my Super G's, and you can make it even easier by doing your gusset in a solid color, because then you don't even have to match stripes on your inseam. You're really only having to match them on your front rise and your back rise and on your waistband. And the waistband on the Super G's, it comes in, or the rise comes in mid or high rise. And there's also cut lines on the pattern itself for mid or high, and then on the waistband itself. So you can combine those. Like you can do the mid rise on the pants and then the high rise on the waistband, or you can do the high rise on the pants and the mid rise on the waistband. And that just kind of lets you make it to where you're comfortable. Sometimes people like that seam where the waistband meets the tights in a different spot, maybe just depending on how the shape of your stomach is, or if you have C-section scars or different things like that. That allows you to customize that. In addition, the fabric that you use, you're gonna want to use fabric that has 75% stretch both ways. That's the same way it is on the strides and on the tempos. You're using 75% both ways. And again, like I said, the stretchier fabric is going to give you more ease horizontally, and then the stretchier fabric vertically is going to give you a higher fit on your waistband, and even higher, like going lower down on your legs. Okay, so don't you just love the Super G's? I'm such a fan of how they fit me. Okay, the Tempo Tights. Let's talk about the Tempo Tights. So the Tempo Tights are the one that are so fun for color blocking. They just have the greatest style lines that I think are so cool. And on the Tempo Tights, they are the same size chart as the Super G and as the strides. And those have come in a petite file, a regular file, and a tall file. And that is amazing. These are the only tights patterns from Greenstyle that comes in a petite, the different sizes, so you're not having to make length adjustments. And the reason is just because it is quite a bear to change those style lines, since they're all curved lines, if you're having to change your inseam. And this kind of does it for you. So, and even if you don't fit into one of those standard inseams, like let's say since the petite is 26 inch, the regular is 29 inch, and then the tall is 32 inch. So let's say that you have a 30 inch inseam. Well, you're probably going to be fine with the regular tights because of the fact that there's vertical ease and your legs are going to stretch. But let's say you have like right at a 31 inch inseam. I would do the tall tights with the 7/8 inch inseam. So there's different cut lines on the pattern itself for like a cropped pant versus a regular full length pant. So you can kind of adjust it within there. There are no shorts options on the Tempo Tight or Capri. They're only a full length leg pattern. And they do have a gusset. The gusset is a triangle gusset. It's the same gusset that is on the Inspire Tights. And also, let's see, it has a pocket. The pocket is optional, but I mean, oh my goodness, why would you not? Because whenever you do the side panel, is going to be there regardless. It's not one of those like the Super G's. If you omit the pocket, then you have no side seam. While the Tempos, you omit the pocket, you just don't have a pocket. So there's really, the only benefit to that is if you just don't like pockets. I don't even know that that's a benefit. Anyways, I'm sure someone is going to comment and tell me I don't like any pockets. But and the way this pocket is designed is it's 3 layers. It's not a patch pocket. And on this one, you sew the pocket to the side seam, and the seam where you're sewing it sits at the top of the pocket. And then the bottom of the pocket is a fold. So it's kind of the reverse of the Super G Tights. And that's also a pretty cool pocket. The reason they did that is so that you don't have any kind of you have less of a line showing at the bottom of the pocket than you do on the Super G's. So if you are using a fabric that's really see-through on that side panel, then it kind of helps you it not to be so obvious where the end of your pocket is. I think that the Tempos are the most fun if you have a cover stitch machine, because you get to have fun top stitching all those seams. But if you don't have a cover stitch, don't worry. I didn't take the time to cover stitch a lot of mine. It's covered top stitching a pair of leggings is really just important if you didn't want to change your thread. It keeps you from seeing the thread that's inside of the pant whenever you top stitch. So these, I check off the most fun to color block. I love all the different options, like having a petites pattern. You have the different waistbands. Oh my goodness, let's talk about the waistband. Have you noticed all of mine have that really cool looking heart over the booty? And you don't have to do that. There's one that's just straight across. As you can see, I haven't made that option yet just because that's the same option all the other tights. So if I want one that's just straight across, I'm just gonna make Super G's, or I'm gonna make, a different pattern. So on this one, it has the fun heart booty, and it's so flattering and so fun. I'm going to be showing tomorrow when I sew the Tempo Tights how to do that waistband. So don't be intimidated. If you think it's cute, don't think, I can't do that. That's too hard. Don't think that. You can do it. It just takes some patience. And after your first few, then you're going to think, I'm such an expert. Look at me. Okay. So you see the heart on the booty, and you notice on my yellow pair how see-through this yellow is. I should have turned it around and put the black over my bottom and then yellow on the side. So this is a pattern to think about if you have an athletic fabric and it's got wonderful stretch and it feels awesome, and you look at it and you're like, oh, this is going to be see-through. Even if I wear no-show panties, you're still going to see everything. So whenever you get yellow fabric like that, don't put it on your butt. Put it on that side panel and no one will ever know. Like, let's say you have a beautiful athletic mesh, different things like that. You can use it on that side and just use something that's really nice and opaque over your bottom. So you live and you learn. Okay, so let's see. What else do we want to say about the Tempos? You don't have to use two. You can use 1 fabric, 2 fabric, 3 fabric, however many fabrics. You can do some scrap busting on this pattern. Notice that I used mainly 2 fabrics. I guess I had like a brain block when it got to the bottom calf, and I was like, I've already matched enough. I'm just going to use the same one I used on top. My goal is to one day make them out of 3 fabrics. I've come across so much inspiration of different fabric types, of like combining like a dark fabric with a light fabric and then a white. I haven't done it yet. I will though, I promise. But I have made them out of only 1 single fabric, and it looks really cool if you cover stitch all of the seams or do some kind of contrast stitching on those seams. I've even seen, I think Angie did, maybe even Melanie Burns did a pair where they used a reflective piping on all those seams, so that like if they run at night, you see all that reflective fabric throughout the seams in their tights, and it looks really cool. This is just a really fun pattern. It has the gusset, so I can do cartwheels and I can move around just like I can in all my other tights. I can squat and have fun. Yeah, this is the one that I like to use whenever I don't have a full pants. I can't, like I have fabric that's maybe just half a yard, but I want full pants out of, then I can still use these because I can just color block them with another fabric and use scraps. Cavallo Tights. Let's talk about the Cavallo Tights. Now, these are a riding pants pattern, and these have the exact same size chart as the Super G's, the Tempo Tights, and the Inspire Tights. But even though they have the same size chart, the ease isn't the exact same. I feel like the ease in the Cavallo Tights is closer to the Inspires. It's kind of, the Inspires to me have the least amount of negative ease of all the patterns, and I would put the Cavallos in between those and the Super G's or the Strides or the Tempos. And the Cavallo Tights have no inseam. It is amazing. I feel like this tights pattern was created for those of us who only want seams where they are like absolutely necessary. And if you don't have to have an inseam, oh my goodness, why have an inseam? Like, that is amazing, because without an inseam, that means you're not going to have any kind of shaping. If you're doing anything where your thighs are rubbing together, you're doing bike riding, you're doing horseback riding, it's one less seam that's putting pressure on your body. Have you ever taken your pants off at night and then noticed that you have the seam lines showing on indentions on your skin? Well, you know, some of my tights do that whenever I'm wearing very compressive fabric. And that's the fabric that I'm going to use on the Cavallo Tights, because the only seams on those pants are the ones for your pockets. So you have your pockets, and then you have the stripe across the booty, just like you do with the Strides, and it looks so good. It's so flattering. And then you have your crotch, your rise, your front rise, and your back rise, and that's it. There's no gusset. There's nothing on the inseam, but you can put, there's some patches where you can put knee patches on. So when you're riding, those can be made out of like a suede or any fabric, just to kind of reinforce that area. Okay, so they have 3 different lengths. They come in a shorts length. There's a cut line on the pattern for shorts. Then there's a cropped length, and then there's a full length. And then on the waistband, there's a high rise, and then there's an ultra high rise. So on mine, all the ones that I'm showing, I have made the high rise. So the ultra high is going to sit very high. So you can see that on this high rise, it's about 1 inch to 2 inches above my belly button. I also, on the pants pattern themselves, there's high rise, and then there's optional lower front rise. So that's if you want that seam where your waistband connects to your pants. If you want it to sit lower on your stomach, then that gives you that option. So, you know, you can combine whichever one you want. So if you want to have the optional low rise with the ultra high band, I would try it out and see which one is more comfortable. If you're not sure which one you love the most, you can always make them in the shorts length, and then you haven't taken the time to make a full length pants, just to try them on. The waistband on the Cavallo Tights is like a contoured waistband, and it is super, super flattering and comfortable. You can put, in all of the different leggings patterns, you can put elastic into the waistband, and that helps to keep them nice and secure and from slipping. But I find on the ones that have the contoured waistband, I don't have to put the elastic in the waistband, because the contour follows my curves, and if it sits right in the smaller part of my waist, then it tends to want to stay there. So on these, I did not put elastic in the waistband. The Cavallo Tights, they're just a really, really good leggings pattern. I think they're my new favorite, that whenever I get fabric in the mail, I'm like, ooh, I want to make another pair of Cavallo Tights. And that's just because the pocket is great. But you know, one thing I'm going to have to tell you about them is that I always seem to forget to put the stitching underneath the pocket so that my pocket isn't to my knee. So don't be like me, and make sure that you remember to put the stitching there so that your pocket ends where it is supposed to end. It's on the pattern. So, you know, somebody forgetting that's just on me. It's not the pattern's fault. And so otherwise the pocket on that is huge. And the way the pocket is constructed is it's like a patch pocket. So it's not like the Super G's or the Tempos where it's like integrated into it. It's like the Strides. So it's just a 2-layer pocket. The way that the pocket is, you have 2 different options. You can have it like just a slant, or you can have it that looks like a jogger style pocket where it's scooped. So those are that's the way that the top of the pocket looks and how it sits on you. So you can just hem the pocket, or you have the option of putting binding across the pocket. So if you want to have maybe more of like a jogger look to your pants, you can put binding on the top of those pockets. Let's talk about the Inspire Tights. Okay, so I've told you all these amazing things about all the other tights patterns and how much I love this one and I love this about this one. But let me tell you the one that I make the most. Like, if I count how many leggings that I actually have, and the ones that make it through the washer and dryer, or you don't dry your leggings, the ones that make it through the washer every week that I pull out the most are the Inspire Tights. They're kind of like, they're that one that's like the workhorse to me, because I use the Inspire Tights when I want something that I'm gonna wear all day long because they do not have a lot of negative ease like the other patterns do. So I don't feel the need to just only wear them for working out, even though I do wear them to work out. But I wear them on days where I'm like, yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to work out today, but I want to be ready if it just like happens. Those are the Inspire Tights for me. So the Inspire Tights have color blocking options that are really fun, but I never really use the fun color blocking options on them. I like to make them with no side seam. That is my favorite way to make them. The no side seam is not in the pattern, but it's like the easiest. I don't even feel like calling it a hack because all you do is just lay the pattern pieces next to each other. You overlap them by 3/4 of an inch, and then bam, you have no side seam. So you don't really have to alter anything or do anything different to them. All it is just the way whenever you're laying your pattern pieces out that you fold your fabric to where you can cut mirror images, and then you just lay the pattern pieces on your fabric to where the side seam is overlapping 3/4, and then bam, you just cut out those, and then you don't even have to bother with sewing your side seam. All you have to do is sew your rise and then your inseam, and then put on your waistband, and you have a pair of leggings in less than an hour. So that's probably one of the reasons I also sew the Inspire Tights so much, is because if I really don't have a lot of sewing time, it's late at night and I haven't sewn in a while, and I just want a project that I can sew quickly, and I have fabric that's like calling my name, I grab the Inspire Tights because I know they're going to be quick. I know they're going to fit great. The difference though in the Inspire Tights and the other ones is it's one of the original Greenstyle Tights patterns. So it doesn't have the updated size chart. It doesn't go up to 62-inch hip like the other ones do. It also doesn't have the contoured band. The contour waistband is a separate download. It's free, but you just do have to go and get that other file if you want a contoured waistband. The one that comes in the pattern is a great pattern, but you want to make sure if you use that waistband that you use elastic in the top to keep it up. And it doesn't have a pocket. I know, that's sad, right? So what I do is I set my Brazzy pattern on top of the Inspire Tights, and I add the Brazzy pocket, and that works great. So if I really want the Inspires and I want a pocket, this is what I did. But now that I have the Cavallo Tights, I'm kind of like, I'll just use that pocket because it's a very similar pocket construction. It looks like a jogger pocket if you do the scoop version. But anyway, so my go-to for if I want no side seam is the Inspire Tights. Even though I've made them with the side seam, when I first started making them, I would usually make them with the side seam, and they were just a great basic legging that fit awesome. If you want the compression that's in the other leggings pattern, you can size down. I know a lot of people do size down on the Inspire Tights, but I don't because I'm like right at the bottom of my size range, and they just fit with so much ease that they make me feel so comfortable. They're great. One thing about the Inspire Tights also is since they are not an updated pattern is there are not measurements for your thighs or your calves. So you're gonna kind of have to know your body whenever you make the Inspire Tights. And by that, I mean, I know my body. I know that my calves are bigger than what Greenstyle drafts for because I've made the other leggings patterns, and I see, oh, I have to go up 2 sizes in my calf. So I know to kind of translate that over to the Inspires. So whenever I make adjustments to the Inspire Tights, I know I just have to make the same ones that I make in other Greenstyle patterns, even though it doesn't have those measurements. So if you're not comfortable, like you don't know what your usual adjustments are, you might need to compare and measure yourself to the pattern. And by that, I mean, measure your calf and measure your thigh. And then you're gonna have to see how much ease is in the pattern and whether or not you need to make an adjustment. And that's really, really, really important, adjusting your leggings, because, I've talked a lot about, how they feel and how much I love them and how great they are. That doesn't really help you if you make a pair of tights and they fall down on you all day. So the important thing for you is to get the fit right on your patterns. So that's grading where you need to grade, that's making the adjustments that you need to adjust. So let's talk about that. I think that's an important discussion to have. Okay, so for me, whenever I make leggings, I have to grade out for calves. My calves are larger than what the average calf is. And if I don't, then that means all day long I feel a lot of compression in my tights, and it doesn't feel good. I just feel, I don't like to be squeezed too hard in my calves. It hurts as the day goes on. So I know to grade out in them, and then they feel good. But besides just how they feel, if they're too tight in your legs somewhere, then it's gonna pull your pants down. So if you're having a problem with your pants slipping, sometimes that's just because they're too tight somewhere on your legs. It could be your thighs, it could be it can be lots of different points. So you're just gonna wanna make sure that you have a good fit throughout the legs. Another thing about them slipping down is just where the waistband hits you. So if it hits at like a large part on your stomach, then it's naturally gonna try and move to get to a smaller part. So I noticed that the leggings that I've made where the waistband hits at like the top of it is at the very top, is right where the small part on my waist is, then those just don't move because there's not a smaller part for them to try and seek and slip to. But the ones that I've made that hit me at a larger part on my stomach, I feel like I'm constantly tugging on them. And you can, if you think visually that's where it looks the best on you for the tights to hit, then you can leave them there and just make sure you put a really good firm elastic in your waistband to keep them in place where you like them. Another big issue with fit on leggings is camel toe crotch issues, that you can have a back rise that's not big enough if you have a big booty. You can have thighs that's eating your fabric. Those are all different adjustments that you want to make so that your leggings look good on you. Sometimes, when you think about camel toe, it can be referring to two different issues. One of them could be your crotch is actually eating the fabric because it's like up in there, and that is really not a very pretty look for your privates to eat your fabric. And that means that you need more in your front rise, that you need more fabric there to give your self room. Another issue is just excess fabric. So sometimes I've seen it referred to as, I have camel toe, but it's actually just like a lot of fabric that's like pulled and bunched down there in your crotch, because you need a shorter rise. So that's another thing to think about. If you have a back, your butt is really big, then your back seam will hit lower on your bottom. And there's different ways that you can add to your back rise, just depending on what your problem is. On my daughters, I lengthen the back crotch point at the bottom, and that really helps because not only does she have a bigger bum, but she also has thighs that are eating fabric. So that helps on hers. Another way is to slash right across the back rise and then open it up towards the crotch curve. So it's gonna give you length right there while keeping your side seam the same. That's another really good adjustment. There's lots if you're pregnant and you're making leggings for maternity, for myself, I like for them to go under my stomach. So I scoop out the front rise and then just add a taller waistband. But it's going to be up to you how you like your leggings to fit. And this is a great week to make leggings, ask about fit, get a pair that really solidly you feel good in, and make a ton of them so that you're ready for the cooler weather. You're ready for staying active through this fall and this winter. So postscript, after filming this video, I realized there's one leggings pattern that I failed to mention, and that is the simpatico leggings. They will be releasing soon, and it is a very simple, quick leggings pattern that doesn't have all the options. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It is a solid, there's no side seam. So all you have is your inseam, your crotch seam, and your waistband. So this is so that you do not have to hack the inspires. And this one is not like the Tempo Stride Super G base. This one is based off of the inspires. So it has more ease. It's more of an everyday legging, but also can be used for the gym as well. But it will also, unlike the inspires, it will have our full size chart. It will go up to a 62-inch hip. That one is in pre-testing. It might already be out when you're watching this video. Either way, I don't have any to show, but just watch my blog and I'll have several on there once the pattern releases. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoy this week and that you have a great pair of leggings at the end of it. And I can't wait to see them.